The Toxic Crusaders, it's an awesome toy line done by Playmates. Most people know them for handling the Ninja Turtle line, and I also really like their Earthworm Jim figures. But in 1991, they tackled the Troma cartoon based off their glory, repulsive Toxic Avenger movies. I'm just going to cover the good guys in this video, so check back next time for the bad guys. Needless to say, this is probably one of the coolest good guy rosters out there. All these characters are deformed, ugly, and really awesome. The show really pushed an environmentally friendly message with the tagline, "It's cleanup time." So with that, let's take a look at our hero Toxie, armed with a mop, grenades, and he's supposed to also have this little helper, Blobby, but my figure is incomplete. I really love the colours and the textures here across the entire range of the Toxic Crusaders figures. Toxie himself might not be the most interesting sculpt, but he's still got a great character. Even in the cartoons, he's all about helping and just being incredibly naive. As for the action features, his broom top pops off and you can load it up with slime. I'm glad there's a slime based action feature for the hero, but as you're going to see, Nozone does it a lot better. So let's pull him out and tackle him next. A former pilot crashed his plane into a pepper mill when he was exposed to the transformative chemicals, so we have a superhero here with a sneezing ability. Nozone here actually came packaged with a small vial of slime that could be stored in his backpack. The action features here allow him to pull off the Nozone goggles and add slime into the head, as well as his nose themed gun and shield. He's a very messy character that reminds me a bit of Muckman from the Ninja Turtles line. Similar action features. Outside of the balance issues with the big backpack and the big wheel, I do enjoy the craziness here. Sure, Toxie is a bit gruesome, but there's an actual streak of weird here with Nozone. Alright, so let's follow up with another non-complete figure, Major Disaster. I'm missing the fern that he keeps in his backpack as well as his rifle, but I swapped in one of the extra guns from Bonehead, so not a big deal. He does also come packaged with a big knife and a grenade. So yeah, all around very well equipped environmental warrior. The textures and the colours here on the figure are kind of different from how he appeared in the cartoon, and in my opinion I think he looks like a much more fun action figure. Great big feet make him very easy to balance. Like the previous figures, I really like the range of details and textures here on Major Disaster. I'm going to call out the paint application for giving him a red arm, but all round I love the painted on details, especially the vines. They're really cool and they really help him pop. Junkyard is the result of a homeless man who climbed into a guard dog's kennel to take shelter from a storm. Unfortunately, it was in a junkyard being polluted by the transformative toxins, merging them together. It's a backstory that raises more questions than answers, but let's talk about the figure instead. The tongue is obviously the action feature here, long and rubbery, and it works well with the articulation in the jaw as well. As far as drawing comparisons, I guess the obvious one is Dog Pound from the newer TMNT toy line, but Playmates attempted a very similar figure with Peter Puppy from Earthworm Jim a few years as well. I feel like in terms of personality, Junkyard is really fun. He's a vibrant figure with some great details, like the bones coming through in his tail. Even though not all the details are painted, especially on the back, they did a good job of making sure the front of the figure got a bit of extra attention, and it just goes to show how well sculpted all these Toxic Crusaders are. So my Junkyard figure is just missing his chain belt. It's unfortunate, but he does come with a sign made out of dog bones, a spiked club, and one of my favourite weapons in the toy line, a blaster made out of old junk, including dog food cans. I really like the details here. I'm going to keep saying that throughout this review, but they look awesome, and he's even got this little insect buddy just hanging out on top of his gun. So I saved one of my favourites for the end, Headbanger, or individually Fender and Bender. Yeah, a little bit of humour from the show there, but talking about the show, Headbanger looks so much cooler as a figure. I feel like the character design was a bit ambitious and he always looked so awkward on the show, but the colour scheme here and the way they morph these two very different figures together is awesome. And that surfboard is just full of so many sculpted details. As far as action features go, Headbanger can bang heads. With a little bit of added neck articulation, it's such a small detail, but it's kinda cool how well it reflects the personality of the characters from the show. Armed with their Bromo Blaster. Again, some awesome sculpting on the weapon here, and it can be held in a variety of ways. Lastly, I picked up 2 vehicles for the Toxic Crusaders collection. Toxie's Crusader Skater and the Smog Cycle for Bonehead. So I'll be sure to check out that one when I review the bad guys, but right now let's check out the Crusader Skater. Very cool box art. It feels like Playmates always did this really well, especially with the Turtles toy line. On the front we get an illustration showing the vehicle with Toxie mounting an all-out assault. Then on the back we get a clearer product shot with what's included in the box, which is essentially just the vehicle. There's no extra weapons or projectiles included. I originally picked up the vehicles because I had a totally loose Toxie and I wanted him to have something to mow down the bad guys with. The Toxic Crusader line in general has a great cobbled together look, which is again similar to the Ninja Turtle vehicles. But I feel like they really push the slimy and grimy aesthetic for this toy line. So yeah, that's my Toxic Crusaders Good Guy collection. Seriously, a very cool good guy roster. Not everything is complete, and I haven't got all the vehicles either. There was a hovercraft as well as the Toxic Turf Surfer, but it is a pretty big line considering how popular the show wasn't. So I'll be checking out the bad guys in the next video along with the Smog Cycle. Thanks again for watching. Please feel free to comment, like and share it. It really does help me out and it is really appreciated, even if literally everyone else says that too. So sorry about that, but thanks for tuning in. If you really like the cartoon series, you might be interested in my Genesis review I did over on the Leftover Culture review. The Toxic Crusaders had a pretty cool beat 'em up for 2 players. I'm not going to say it was a great game, but it definitely had a lot of charm from the show. So check that out if you're keen, and thanks for watching.